Roland, I'm going to tell you there's a new theory, new brain theory, that men, they just discovered, men have something called the nothing box. It's a small part of the brain, but a lot of times men will go to the nothing box and just kind of relax. And then they dissected female brains and they found there's no nothing box in the female brain. But it drives female brain crazy when the male brain goes into the nothing box.
That's right.
All right, I made that up. Come on, I made that up. All right, what's inside the brain? Give me one example.
Ideas.
It's that kind of motivations. It's all that good stuff. What I want you to do is draw a picture, a profile of a human head, like that. And then all of you stand up there and try to figure out what is inside the human brain. All the things you can feel. And I don't mean the basal ganglia and the amygdala, but I mean things that are inside, like what's inside your brain. There's an American comedian named Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld, and he had a series for many, many years, very successful series on TV. He's also a writer. And what he does, he's got this huge calendar in the back of the room, and every day when he writes, after he writes, he gets to take his little red magic marker and he marks off that day. And it feels good. Gives you a little burst of dopamine when you do that. And he says what happens if he looks up, he's working, he hasn't been writing, and he looks up and he's got 3 days without X's. He starts to get a little twitchy. But it's just a visual cue to use to remind him to do that. And again, I'll tell you, the whole thing, if I had my life to live over, I would examine the little things and do those differently. I wouldn't do the big things differently. I would go to West Point, I'd get in the military, I'd get into small business, I would work for Welch for years, I'd go into the intelligence community, retire, I'd do all that stuff. Marry the same woman, have the same children, but I would change these little behaviors. Ulrich knows me. I'm the curmudgeon, I'm a bid rejecter. And my wife is on the other extreme, the most gracious person in the world. She's about 100% bid acceptor. So do you think I told her about this? No! Roland, you're with me. You're with me. If I tell her that, she's now going to be aware of it. She's going to leave me. I don't need it. So I've actually tried to modify my behavior in the last year since I read this and experiment was terrorized. So now I'll be doing something, I'm reading something, she gives me a bid, and I'm like, oh, it hurts so much, but I got to put it down, and I answer the bid and then go back. And it's amazing. I'm actually modifying my behavior, but I am having a rough time doing it. And that's all this stuff is. That's all that we're talking about, little behaviors other people pick up on that are more important than they probably should be, but that's the way we tick. That's what makes people tick. That's what being human is all about. And the story would end there, except my wife, Pat, works downtown here for a trade association. And she came home, she knows how I feel about Baldrige. She came home 2 years ago. And she said, Mike, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what? She said, it was a bid I answered, by the way. I said, what? And she said, Mac Baldrige. And I said, what? And she said, we had 10 people over today from the Commerce Department. And 25 years later, they're still talking about Mac Baldrige. Now that's a legacy, isn't it? That's a legacy. The impact this guy had with small behaviors on an entire organization. And that's what I wish for you guys. Leave a great leadership legacy. Be good leaders. Class dismissed. Thank you. Thank you, guys.